from Designed Elegance Pastry Shop. So, for today's lesson, we're going to make chocolate chip cookies. Everyone loves chocolate chip cookies. Everyone knows how to make them or knows someone that knows how to make them, but I'm going to go over some of the finer points. So, not going to talk so much about a recipe per se today because there are so many different chocolate chip cookie recipes out there. But I want to go through the procedures. So hopefully if you have your own recipe and you pick up a few of my tricks with the procedure, that'll be beneficial to you. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is start with half a pound of butter.
Now, do you recommend having the butter out softened?
Yes, thank you for asking. You want to have it be at room temperature. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to mix smooth in a short amount of time.
Okay.
So we have our butter. Now we're going to use 1 full packed cup of brown sugar. Okay, now this is basically going to be about a half a pound of sugar. Okay, so we got our half a pound, and then we're going to use 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar. There we go.
Level, not heaping, right?
Correct. All right. All three in the bowl at the same time. Start our mixer.
And you recommend bringing the speed up gradually so it doesn't go whee!
Well, absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the flour. It's not so important now because we don't have too much in the bowl yet, but then that will become a big issue later on. Okay, so now I'm pretty well smooth. I'm just going to make sure that all of the butter is mixed into the sugar. So what I want to do is just scrape with my spatula all over the paddle, and then go around the bowl, and especially get to the bottom of the bowl. Okay, now I'm just going to wipe my spatula off right here on my paddle, put it down, start the mixer again, low, and then gradually up. Okay, now that's smooth. I'm going to add 2 eggs. Now with the eggs, what we want to make sure is that we crack them into a cup and then add them. This way, if there's any eggshells or any imperfections, we're not adding something to the batch that we don't want. Okay, so now we're going to mix that in smooth. Only takes a moment. Give it a quick scrape again. Now it's very loose, but it will come back together. Now this is when I normally add my vanilla. And I'm just going to use a capful, actually half a capful, small batch. Okay, there's that. Again, we're going to mix. Smooth. Now I have somewhat of a loose batter here. And the reason being is that these are very large eggs for this small batch of batter. But that's okay.
Almost looks like the consistency of ice cream.
Absolutely. So if the eggs were just a touch smaller, then it would be a little bit
thicker,
tighter and creamier. So
okay.
Anyway. Okay, so now we want to add our flour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 full cup, and I'm going to level it off like so. I'm going to add it in. Now I'm going to take another, just a little bit more than half a cup. And what I want to do is I want to add my baking soda to that. So I'm going to use 1 level teaspoon, and then 1 level half teaspoon, which is basically a half of a tablespoon. 3 teaspoons equal 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm mixing the powder or the soda into the flour. Level it back out. Now I'm going to top it off. And now I'm going to give it just a little bit more. Okay. All right. So now we start nice and slow.
This also goes for hand mixers too.
We don't want that poof. Yeah, especially with hand mixers. Okay, so.
Yeah, and you can see a little
Once
bit
it
of
starts
powder
to
is
tighten up a little bit,
flightening up.
Fluffing up. Okay, now once it all comes together, now we want to turn it off. We'll scrape it down, just like we did before. We want all the flour to incorporate into all of the butter sugar mixture.
So make sure you scrape the sides.
Yes.
Okay.
Very important. Okay, so now, before we start that up again, we might as well add our chocolate chips. So, your amount of chocolate chips is obviously optional. I like to use a full cup in a small batch like this. There we go. And just a quick mix. Again. Now we can scrape. Notice I did not mix everything smooth with the chips in. Okay, it's just a light mix because the more we mix it at this point, number one, we're going to toughen the batter because the flour is already in, and also we don't want to break the chips apart because then they'll just be a mess. All right, good enough. So now we can chill this batter if we want to. But I would not suggest chilling it all the way because it's going to be very difficult to manipulate it. If you chill it just a little bit, then you can roll it into a ball. You can roll it into a log if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and scoop right out of the bowl. So, a little bit heaping. Okay. Now the size of your cookie is going to depend on the size of your scoop, or likewise how much of a extra you put in the scoop. I find that this is about the right amount for myself. Okay.
And obviously make sure they have breathing room between each other.
Oh yeah, because they're going to spread. That's what
Yeah.
you want, and that's basically the reason for the baking soda. Without the baking soda, the cookies will not spread.
Now that's something I didn't know.
Yep. And likewise, baking powder makes things rise as opposed to spreading. So, about the only cookie that I know of that has both baking powder and baking soda will be your classic cutout Christmas cookies. Cutout dough.
Those generally are my favorite during the holidays. I have to be honest.
Let me tell you, that's why I'm a baker, is because of those cookies. My grandmother, she got me started when I was a kid. I've loved it ever since, and I've just, that's why I do. That's why I do what I do.
Have you ever made sphingies?
No, I have not.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll have to make sure that you get that recipe, because I'll
There
tell you
you
what.
go. Well, it sounds like something I'd like to try.
Oh, they are dynamite.
Okay, so now I have my pan all ready to go. I'm going to put the cookies in the oven.
And what temperature?
I have my temperature set at 325 in a regular oven. It's about 300 in a convection oven. I like to bake a little lighter than typical, simply because it gives you a little bit more wiggle room, and you don't have to worry about burning the bottoms of your cookies if you're just a minute late into the oven.
So 300 in a convection oven, 325 in a standard oven.
Correct. You're generally
Also,
going to figure about 8 minutes on one side, and then we're going to turn the cookies around and give them about another 4 minutes. So generally about 10 to 12 minutes is going to be your basic cooking time.
And of course, your oven temperature may vary, so you might want to get an oven thermometer just to make sure that your temperature is accurate.
Yes, there's that, and also if you're baking in a little bit lighter oven or a hotter oven, you can just compensate for that as you're doing your baking. Just keep in mind, you know your oven. If you know it bakes hot, then you know to turn the temperature down just a little bit. Okay?
A few moments later.
Okay, so we cut out a little bit of time just so you can see it, the end product, without having to wait and wait and wait through video. And whenever you're ready, Maestro.
Yeah, I think they're about ready.
All right, bring it on.
Go. Okay, look at these.
Oh,
They got a little bit of color. They're not too dark. Now these are cookies that have they're very delicate. There's not too much flour, so they're not going to be real mealy. They're going to be more melty in your mouth type of cookie. So
definitely my favorite kind.
we would normally want to let these sit on the pan for at least 5-10 minutes. That way they set up properly. So we'll set this off to the side, and we'll take one of these other pans of cookies that I had just baked a little bit ago, and I guess that we can give these a try. And this is what I mean by a delicate cookie. See how thin and gooey that is?
Oh,
yeah,
look at that.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, here you go, my friend.
All right.
And I'm going to give this a try. That's working. I think your kids are going to love these. I think Sandy would like some to take home.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we're going to have to send some home then. All right. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you've had an enjoyable time. Remember, folks, when you bake with love, it's always going to be delicious. Thank you.